wherever you go, whatever they get into. From chill time to everyday adventures, protect your dog from parasites with Credelio Quattro. For full safety information, side effects, and warnings, visit CredelioQuattroLabel.com. Consult your vet or call 1-888-545-5973. Ask your vet for Credelio Quattro and visit QuattroDog.com.
What's up, guys? It's three-time NFL Pro Bowler, all-decade return specialist, Josh Cribbs. I want to welcome you to the Mac Sports Connection podcast, where Alex hosts all things Mac, all things football, all things sports, right here, Mac Sports Connection, baby. The Mid-American Conference best, bringing it only the greats, Mac, to everyone.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Mac Sports Connection podcast with your host, Alex and Graham. Graham, we are through week 4. We are heading into week 5. We're nearing the midpoint of the college football season. And I just got to say that it just gets a little bit crazier every single week. And I think that's what we love about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly something. I don't know that how much we love the craziness of action. Who am I kidding? We love the craziness of action. It is all over the place. Does it make it hard for our teams to get ranked? It does, but I'm here for it. I'm here for the parody. I'm here for the ins and outs. A great game every week. It's
and what a week it was. Let's just get right into it. We'll kind of recap this last week. The shocker of the week, I guess, is the one that I want to touch on first. Toledo goes down to Western Michigan 14-13 in an incredibly defensive, slugfest. Tucker Gleason did not look like Tucker Gleason at all. And the fire candle pundits have brought out their pitchforks once more. And there is unrest in the Toledo fan base.
Yeah, I don't know where the Toledo offense was. It's now Chip Trainum showed up.
Yeah,
Guy had 153 yards and a score. Now he didn't look as explosive as he's looked, but Chip Trainum came to play. The rest of the Toledo offense couldn't be found, and you're right. Tucker Gleason looked lost out there. I don't know what was going on. Whether it was the Western Michigan defense was just giving him looks that he wasn't prepared for. But Tucker Gleason looked lost out there. I don't know what it was. Toledo's defense showed up again, as they've been doing all season. The Toledo defense showed up. Western Michigan's defense showed up. I don't know that we expected that, but the Bronco defense looked pretty good. They did a lot of bend, don't break kind of stuff on Saturday. But overall, I think the biggest shocker was just that Toledo never really clicked on offense. They found a couple of drives here and there, but mostly fizzled out and not much going on. Western Michigan also pretty stagnant offensively as well, but found enough when it counted, and that's I think that's the story of the game.
Brock Lowry looked like the better of the two quarterbacks. He had 201 passing yards, just one pick. Tucker Gleason completing just 50% of his passes for just 89 yards and 2 incredibly costly interceptions. I don't know how much of this game you got a chance to watch, Graham. I watched really the last portion of it because it was one of those things I'm like, okay, Toledo's defensive slugfest early. They're going to come out second half ready to go. And Chip Trainum came out, like you said, had that massive score. But Toledo's offense just couldn't find any consistent rhythm. And ultimately, there goes, I think I hate to say it, but I think there goes any outside shot of a MAC team making the college football playoffs. I think Toledo was the hope. There goes any outside shot at a MAC team getting ranked in the foreseeable future. So that just kind of sucks to see when you're a MAC fan and you want the conference to look good on the national stage.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about when we talk about this wild weekend. That's, the disappointing thing is we don't have a MAC school with fewer than 2 losses. So 4 weeks in, everybody has at least 2 losses on the year. That's good for the conference. For us we're fans of the conference. We like the parity. We like kind of the maction of it all. I think it bodes that there's going to be one of those kind of years where we don't really know who's going to be in the MAC championship until maybe a week before the game. But it does mean that nationally, there goes our shot at any shot at the playoffs. Now, that being said, the MAC had an outside shot at the playoffs at best. I think it's hard to find a situation where the college football playoff committee would rank the MAC school as the group of 5 representative. I think it's way more likely to come from outside the MAC, but I think this puts that to bed, which means we can focus solely on the MAC. And Alex, what do you think this means for the MAC championship race? For people who follow us on the socials, we saw that Toledo has not been in the top spot in our power rankings. Do you think the Rockets still have a shot at the MAC championship?
Well, I think power rankings are one thing, results are another, and right now I think Toledo is licking their wounds a little bit. They're a little bit wondering, what do we do? And I think Toledo will be fine. It feels like every year, whether we like it or not, Jason Candle and his staff loses a game that they really have no business losing. Last year, I think it was Akron. This year, it seems like it's Western Michigan. Just feels like there are games that Toledo is the heavy favorite. In fact, I think David Briggs from the Toledo Blade posted something. Toledo, in the last 8 years or 7 years, has lost 8 games as a double-digit favorite. And that's not good, right? If you're Toledo, that's not good. That's bad for you Toledo fans listening. I hear the Bowling Green fans cheering gleefully at that statistic. But I think Toledo still has a shot. I mean, we see how good this defense is, right? This is a top tier MAC defense in a conference where defense hasn't been, or where defense really kind of comes at a premium outside of a couple schools. We know Miami, Ohio, they've got a great defense. And we'll get to them in a minute. Ohio's defense last week was a bit of an outlier, kind of that hangover from the Ohio State game of like, oh, hey, now we can like go back to playing teams that we're gonna be able to beat. But I think other than that, you're starting to finally see the resurgence of defense. Western Michigan proved that this weekend. But I think right now Toledo's got other things to worry about. Because one weekend you look like world beaters on offense when you knock off perennial Conference USA favorite Western Kentucky, and then the next weekend you look like cellar dwellers and you look like your Akron offense taking on Miami defense. So, Toledo's got to worry about finding the offense that's going to be consistent for them. And speaking of Akron, that's who Toledo takes on next week at the Glass Bowl. And they'll be looking to avenge that loss from a year ago to end the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about games that you're not supposed to lose, games that you're supposed to win. Akron had the opposite this week as they took on Duquesne and took them down 51-7. There's not much to say about this game, Alex, other than Akron did what they were supposed to do. We're not always lucky enough to see that out of the Zips. They don't always do what they're supposed to do. But this week they did, and they did it in convincing fashion. 38 points in the first half, 28 points in the second quarter. Akron cruised to victory over Duquesne the way they should.
A fun little stat from that game. Akron had a couple big moments. And And they come at the hands of Jordan Gant. Jordan Gant had 161 yards on 13 carries, and he's the first Akron player to rush for 150 since Tion Dullard, who had 185 against BG 5 years ago during the COVID year. And then the last zip with 3 rushing touchdowns was Cam Wiley against Eastern Michigan just 3 years ago. So, and again, it's Duquesne. Not going to read too much into that one, so don't want to spend too much time on it. But it's good to see Akron finding some offensive rhythm and building a little bit of confidence.
Yeah, I think that's the important thing. Getting that first win under your belt does a lot for making sure that you're prepared for the season. I think Akron did what they were supposed to do in this game. Yep. And I don't have that much to say about it. The Duquesne, Akron is supposed to beat Duquesne. So this is one where I'm not taking too much away from this, other than nice to see Akron get that first win. A team who didn't get their first win this week, Alex, was Miami, and Miami UNLV, one of the candidates for game of the week. Hell of a game.
Just unreal. I think we talked about this game for people at home last week, saying, hey, this might be the game you want to tune into, or one of the games you want to tune into. Boy, howdy, this one did not disappoint. Defensive touchdowns, offensive touchdowns, fireworks everywhere. This was a high-scoring affair. And Miami, winless Miami hosting undefeated Mountain West contender, the UNLV Rebels. This one comes down to a late field goal. UNLV walks out of Oxford with a 38-41 win. And I got to say, I was very impressed with the Miami offense, especially because they switched quarterbacks halfway through. DeQuan Finn got hurt in this game, hoping the best for him. It looks like he's listed as questionable right now on the depth chart. So we'll see if they go to Henry Hessen again next week, or if DeQuan Finn gets healthy. This is the thing you and I talked about at the beginning of the season. DeQuan Finn, if he stays healthy, he's dangerous. If he's not healthy, he's not helping the team. So we'll see where that goes next week. But just unbelievable. Both sides of the ball. Kenny Tracy looked great. Keith Reynolds looked great. Kenny Tracy looked fantastic on the day, honestly. Keith Reynolds had a 100-yard kickoff return. Corbin Hondru had an interception return. This was just a really, really good showing by Miami in all 3 aspects of the game. A little bit of questionable play calling late in the game for Miami to go. I think they went for it late and didn't get an opportunity to kick the field goal to go ahead. But I think if you're Miami, you found a lot of rhythm, and I think that was a good test to get ready for MAC play.
Yeah, I think Miami's offense showed up, and that's something we haven't seen this year so far. I think we expect more of the Miami defense. The Red Hawks defense is much talked about, highly touted, and I think we expected more of that. Certainly not giving up 17 fourth quarter points when it matters. I did want to mention Kenny Tracy. You mentioned him. What a great day he had. 104 yards on the ground, also 84 yards through the air. Yeah. So a guy who had 188 all-purpose yards and a couple of touchdowns, really, really contributing to this team. The DeQuan Finn thing is interesting to me, Alex, because this happened last year at Baylor, where Finn gets hurt early in the season. Somebody steps in for him, and that guy never lost the starting role. Are we looking at that again for DeQuan Finn and Henry Hessen?
I don't know that we are. Henry Hessen, coming in kind of second half duties, essentially. 8 of 17, $134. He had a touchdown. Like, he looked fine, but this was a game in which defenses just didn't seem to exist. Or if they did, no, I take that back. This is a game in which the UNLV defense didn't exist. Miami had a couple of pick sixes and kickoff returns. But I don't know. I think we'll wait and see. If DeQuan Finn is good to go, I think Chuck Martin is going to plug him back in. But we'll see what happens in practice. Henry Hessen has a great practice and really gets a good command of the playbook, I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of split play between the two of them to get different looks. You remember a couple years ago, Terrell Owens and Austin Danton at Toledo. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of this just to try to get a few different looks. Don't be surprised, however, to see DeQuan Finn back in the starting lineup this next week.
Well, that's I think that's what we're all hoping for, given DeQuan Finn's injury history. One thing before we move on, UNLV did have a pick six of their own, so let's not let's not give them such a hard time about their defense. That being said, I don't have much to say about Kent State, Florida State. Kent, I like that they put up 10 points. I like that. I like that the Flashes were able to put 10 points on the board. We know that these are money games. They happen in the MAC, and good for Kent State for taking that beating, going down to Florida State 66-10. Bowling Green had a game I thought was going to be closer than it ended up being, losing to Louisville this week, 17-40. Did you watch any of that game, Alex?
I listened to that one on the radio a little bit, and this one wasn't even as close as the score indicates. Bowling Green had a couple of fourth quarter touchdowns to draw a little bit closer. Bowling Green went up early 3-0 and then disappeared. The offense disappeared. Defense was non-existent. Louisville just had their way with the Falcons. Drew Pine, again, the question continues is how good is Drew Pine? And on the year, he has 660 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. 2 of those picks came yesterday, not yesterday, on Saturday rather. And so I'm just very curious as to how good Drew Pine actually is. And I think Bowling Green fans are starting to get curious. It's a much different look offense when you don't have Harold Fana Jr. that you can just heave the ball up to and know he's going to come down with it. I don't think Eddie George is hitting panic yet. And he shouldn't be, right? I mean, you played a pretty tough non-conference schedule. You did pick up a win against Liberty. And then you lost the Cincinnati game. So you lost to 2 Power 5 opponents. You picked up the Liberty win. You got the season opener. Your test starts this week with Ohio. You travel to Ohio, and then it's next week, the Toledo game. Those are the 2 big ones that you have to have circled on your calendar. And if you're Bowling Green, you have to get up for those games. And Bowling Green's going to get up for Toledo. And I have to imagine they're going to get up for Ohio, the reigning MAC champs.
Absolutely. I think the Bowling Green thing here, I wanted this game to be close. I wanted a BG to sneak out a win, but you're right. I mean, it's a game that Bowling Green looked off on both sides of the ball. So you got to get right before moving on in conference play here. That's yeah. I mean, that's the game. You mentioned the 2 guys the announcers were talking about all day long on that game. They were talking about Drew Pine. Is he who they want him to be, who they need him to be? And then they talked a lot about Harold Fannin Jr., who I don't know if they knew doesn't play for Bowling Green anymore. They knew. they were talking about the loss of Harold Fannin Jr. They weren't talking about him on the field. I'm not going to cast shade at announcers for these games. Another game I think went as expected. Central Michigan takes down Wagner 49-10. Not going to spend too much time there. Ball State loses a heartbreaker to UConn.
Man, did you watch any of this game?
I only saw clips afterwards.
Ball State had a chance late at this one. The backbreaker was Cam Edwards, who just broke Ball State's back pretty much most of the day, if we're being honest. Cam Edwards broke free for like a 67-yard touchdown run under 2 minutes to go to make it a 14-point game. And Ball State scored a late 9 seconds to go touchdown and made it a 1-score game. But what a heartbreaker. I felt so bad for Ball State, but it was good to see a little bit of fight out of the Cardinals, something we haven't seen in a couple years against a bigger opponent. So I was happy to see that out of Ball State, and I'm excited for them to get started for conference play.
Yeah, I think this does bode well for Ball State, a team that we were thinking maybe it was the secret basement dweller of the MAC this year. They looked pretty good against UConn, so not as concerned there. Eastern Michigan grabs their first win of the season against Louisiana. That's a big win. The Ragin' Cajuns come to town and lose in the Factory. Eastern looked good in this game. This is the game that was supposed to be close, and it ended up being close, 34-31. But yeah, Eastern held on to win at home, and I like that they scored a couple of times in the fourth quarter. That's good news. That means that your team can score when they have to score. Mm-hmm. And overall, I think Eastern looked like a solid football team in this one.
Eastern really stepped up this week. Fun fact, all three of the directional Michigans won, which is not something that we've been able to say the last couple of years, at least on all three winning on the same weekend. So that was pretty cool. But you're right. I mean, Louisiana, they took it to Eastern Michigan last year. I'd have to look up the score again, but this game was not close down in Louisiana. And Noah Kim, another solid performance. He had 225, 226 passing yards, a score, and this was a team win. This wasn't any effort on one player. This was a full team win. This is a Chris Creighton team win, and I was very happy to see that for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's Noah Kim continues to lead the conference in passing yards, although Parker Navarro is creeping ever closer. But Noah Kim leading the conference in passing yards, which is good for him and good for Eastern Michigan. Buffalo Troy, a sad outcome. Buffalo looked great on defense for 3 quarters, and then what happened? That's
they disappeared.
Where did the defense go? I mean, frankly, when I talk about the totals here, we talk about the Troy offense was able to put up, I think, like 100 yards passing. No, sorry, they put up just over 200 yards passing, which, pretty good for a defense to hold a team to 200 yards passing, 163 yards on the ground. So pretty good, but most of this comes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That's the Troy scores all 21 of their points in the fourth quarter, and the Bulls are stymied 21-17. That's I loss at home always stinks, but a loss at home in the fourth quarter is tough.
Well, and then you tack on the fact that you were pitching a shutout for 3 quarters, and then you give up 3 touchdowns and can't respond with anything but a field goal of your own. Just an unbelievable heartbreaker. I mean, again, I feel like we saw some encouraging things out of Buffalo in this one. How encouraging, I don't know. That's pretty deflating to lose a game like that, especially in the fourth quarter. But I think Buffalo can, right now they're 1-0 in MAC play. Right now, your goal is the MAC championship, and you get through UConn this next week, then you can turn your sights to an Eastern Michigan, to UMass. You've got a pretty easy MAC slate to start the year. You started with Kent State, then you get Eastern Michigan, UMass, and Akron before getting into some tougher matchups. You get through UConn, who Ball State had on the ropes, and then you focus on conference play.
Yeah, I think that's the takeaway here. Buffalo needs to get right. This is a game that was a winnable game, and a game that Buffalo should have won at home. And I think that's okay. It's okay to have these stumbles. We talked about Toledo with their offensive stumbles. This is a defensive stumble for Buffalo. Hopefully they can get right as they continue more conference games. Go ahead, Alex.
I was gonna say, I look forward to seeing what Buffalo does in the MAC, because this conference slate really means nothing for MAC championship.
Yeah,
or the non-conference slate,
the non-con games. Yeah, that's Buffalo gets a chance against UConn next week. The team that Ball State kind of took to almost took down. So Buffalo has a real shot against UConn. I would hope that the Bulls can get
I
right.
think it's at Buffalo too.
It is. Buffalo hosts the Huskies. So that's it'll be interesting to see whether Buffalo can get a home victory to kind of salvage what happened this week. Ohio takes down Gardner-Webb. That's what we expected. Gardner-Webb scored a few more points than I expected them to, but Ohio was doing some creative substitutions towards the end of that game, so I'm not so concerned about it.
Gardner-Webb looked really good in the first quarter. Then Ohio just explodes on him in the second for 28 points. Say Bangura had 123 yards, 3 scores. A good bounce back from the Ohio State game. An Ohio State game where you played really, really tough. And this is a good kind of confidence. Let's reset. Let's boost ourselves. And you get to keep your home winning record alive, which that's always a good thing when you win at home.
Love to see the home wins continue for the Bobcats. And finally, Northern Illinois took on Mississippi State, who had their MAC loss last year to Toledo. No such luck this year as the Huskies go down 10-38. I don't have much to say about this game, Alex.
I've just got one thing. Josh Holst finally looked like a quarterback for Northern Illinois. I watched a little bit of this. He was finally taking shots downfield. Davidson, their backup, I would not be surprised to see him come in at some point next week for Northern Illinois. But Holst finally started to look a little bit like a quarterback. They take on San Diego State, a soon departing Mountain West program for the new Pac-12. And I think Northern Illinois, they have a shot. That's a home game. You're welcoming San Diego State to DeKalb. But yeah, we'll see what happens with this quarterback room. I don't know that Josh Holst is the guy. It was good to see him finally take some shots. I don't know that he's the guy, and you're not going to win many ball games if you're only putting up 10 points a game.
So Bowling Green taking on Ohio next week at Ohio. This one's on CBS Sports Network. I think that's my game of the week. Alex, what about you?
Man, there's some really good ones here. Kind of the sneaky game, I think, that could be game of the week is Eastern at Central. That's a good conference slate game, and Eastern picks up their first or not their second win rather, their first win. I promise I read this. Central Michigan picked up their second win. I like this matchup. Obviously, it's part of the Michigan MAC Trophy, but I'm very curious to see Matthew Drinkle get his first taste of conference play against a veteran coach like Chris Creighton. So very, very excited to watch that one. And then I've got San Diego State versus Northern Illinois circled as well. That one's a tight game and should be exciting to watch that one.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of close games this week. We have those two conference games we talked about: Bowling Green at Ohio, Eastern Michigan at Central Michigan. San Diego State at Northern Illinois should be an interesting game. UConn at Buffalo should be close. UConn is favored by 3.5 points in that one right now. So, but I think the Bulls can pull it out. Akron at Toledo. It shouldn't be a close game, but it might be. We'll see the way Toledo is playing. Lindenwood at Miami, probably we can skip watching that one. That's hopefully the Red Hawks get their first win of the season. They absolutely should in that one. Rhode Island at Western Michigan, again, that should be a Broncos win. And then UMass at Mizzou. I love UMass, but I think the Tigers are gonna go home with a victory in that one.
Go Minutemen.
That's right. Go Minutemen. Alex, most of those games are on ESPN Plus over the weekend. The one game is on ESPNU. That's UMass at Mizzou, and then, as I said, Bowling Green at Ohio is on CBS Sports Network. But if you can't watch those, you can listen to those games on the Varsity app. Alex, tell them a little bit about that.
Yeah, you can always download the Varsity app. It's free to download, Apple App Store, Google Play Store. The Varsity app connects you to all the action. You can download that listen live to all of your favorite calls from all of your favorite D1 schools, not just the MAC, although that's the one you should be listening to, but the Big Ten, the SEC, Mountain West, and many, many more. Free to download, sign in, save your favorite schools and your favorite sports. And I think that's a really cool feature. But also, you can save your favorite podcast. You can find those on the Varsity Podcast Network in the app, including yours truly, the Max Sports Connection, Group of Five Guys, Sickos Committee, and many, many more. Make sure you guys are downloading that. Check that out for free and start listening to the calls and podcasts that bring your schools and conferences to life.
That's what you got to do. You got to listen to more MAC games is the key. In this time of strife, I think MAC football is the solution.
You hear no complaints from me.
Now, it's a story that I wanted to talk about, and we haven't found time on shows yet that we're going to talk about is Bowling Green has a new mascot. Alex, have you heard about this?
I down goes Freddie and Frida Falcon, and in comes Pudge the Cat. I love Pudge. I adore Pudge, and Pudge is an inspiration to all of America.
That's I think he is. If you haven't seen Pudge the Cat, you got to go pretty much anywhere on Bowling Green social media. You'll find a picture of Pudge the Cat, regardless of whose socials you're looking at. But it's his face for me, Alex. Look at his face. Goodness gracious. He's the perfect color for Bowling Green. He's a ginger cat, and he is just beautiful. I'm sure he has eyes in there somewhere, but I have never seen them in any picture.
He the thing I love about Pudge is I don't know if anybody knows Finn Hogan, the receiver is his dad officially.
No. George Carlson,
no?
the
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Finn Hogan who put the video up on TikTok. That's right.
Yes. Finn Hogan's video went viral.
Yes.
But the long snapper Carlson is.
Yes, that's right. That's right. So anyway, Carlson, he's a what, short-haired Persian? Is that what he officially is? I think that's what I've read somewhere. But he, you look at Pudge and you can't help but smile. I mean, he can't see you smiling, but you can't help but smile when you see him. And he wears his own jersey in the locker room. I don't know if you saw some of the stuff. Louisville actually wrote a letter and created him his own space in their locker room. Said, Pudge, welcome to Louisville. We're happy to have you here. And put out food and just a bunch of stuff. And I'm I love that that's taking it by storm. That it's taking the country by storm. And I love that it's getting eyeballs, not just on BG, but the MAC as a whole. I think that's a really cool thing. And Pudge is fantastic. And I don't know if you've seen the TikTok video, but there's a reason that video went viral. But fun fact, Eddie George is allergic to him.
Yeah. That's the so George Carlson brings this cat on one of the awful Bowling Green summer practices that are just brutal on the players. And for a little pick me up, Cat makes his way into the locker room, and Eddie George has embraced him fully. And as we find out, Eddie George is allergic to cats. So I love that. That's the common refrain around football conditioning is kind of that no pain, no gain kind of thing. So I think Eddie's embracing that when it comes to the cat in the locker room.
Now, Graham, if you meet Pudge and Eddie George on the sidewalk, which one are you asking for an autograph from first?
Pudge. I've seen Eddie George autographs. I've never seen a Pudge autograph.
Well, a rare one of one incoming for Graham there, folks.
That's right. Absolutely.
Pudge is wonderful, and he's been a great story to have in the MAC and for Bowling Green. And, I also want to shout out Bowling Green really quick, too. I don't know if you've seen their attendance at home the last couple home games. Doy Perry's been packed out. They might set a new attendance record for the season this year. So hats off to the staff at Bowling Green. They've done an excellent job turning around the culture there to get people excited about Falcon football. I'm sure part of it has to do with the fact that Eddie George, a Heisman Trophy winner, is your head coach, and Eddie George is very beloved in the state of Ohio. But a massive, massive shout out to the staff at Bowling Green for putting in the time and effort and energy to get people out to Deutsch Perry to get them excited for Falcon football.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pudge has a lot about that. I mean, Pudge is in the EA Sports video game now.
Is he really?
Yeah. That's the you can get a Pudge card.
That's even better
in that game. That's the story going around is that somebody sent a picture of their game to the team group chat, and they said, "Holy crap, I got a Pudge card."
That's amazing.
So they weren't even aware he was going to be in the game. Now Pudge is in the game. I
Pudge
think
is making more money than we are, Graham.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. That's George Carlson, tragic story. Last year, loses his mom to cancer. Mm-hmm. But the story here is that his mom, while fighting cancer, was determined to find a cat for George to kind of comfort him, and she and her husband found Pudge from a lady in a Chicago parking lot. Is the story. Oh, wow. And they're able to get George this cat Pudge, and great that he's been able to be such a mascot for Bowling Green. I think that's the story of MAC football, right? Is this finding gems where they're unexpected, and certainly Pudge exemplifies that, and exemplifies sort of that fighting spirit. He looks like a tough guy. But he is, in fact, just a fluff ball, and I think that fits for a lot of our MAC athletes. So, yeah. I think "Welcome to the Family, Pudge" is the story here.
I love it. Well, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week, ending on a feel good story for you about Pudge and the Bowling Green Falcons. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Graham and I appreciate it. We also appreciate you supporting us on all the social media outlets. We are inching closer to 4,500 over on X. So give us a follow there. But we are nowhere near as close on our other socials. So please give us a follow on those places as well, Instagram and Blue Sky specifically. We'd love to get a little bit closer to that margin in those other platforms. We'd also love 4,500 subscribers to the podcast. You guys want to get everybody to subscribe to us, listen to us, and tell us how terrible our takes are, or tell us that we know ball better than you do. We're happy. We're happy to listen to whatever you say, but you got to listen to us to make an opinion. So go hit subscribe wherever podcasts are available: Apple, Google, Spotify, the Varsity Podcast Network, and also Amazon at the MSC Podcast. Graham, do you have any other parting shots before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is that folks know the reason we do the podcast is because we like to talk about MAC sports. So we would love for you to talk about MAC sports with us. Reach out to us online. That's the Instagram, X, Blue Sky, wherever you want to do it. We would love to talk some MAC sports with you, and get really excited about this conference, especially as conference play starts to heat up.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for us here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate the love and support, and we'll see you guys next week.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.